My name is Adam Meyer. I am a mechanical engineering senior 2 now at Kettering University, and I just recently completed in the winter of 2024 Dr. Barry's fluid mechanics class. So now I'd like to come here today to share some tips about how you can best succeed in the class. So I was able to thankfully get an A throughout my hard work, and I'd like to give you some tips on hopefully you can repeat this. So the important thing about fluid mechanics is understanding the basic principles because these will be carried out throughout the term. So one of the things that I would like to stress to you is to work on your definitions. They are extremely important. Things that you learn in the first week of class will be crucial in the last week of class when you're taking an exam or doing a project. So what I recommend doing, and what I did actually, is I created a Quizlet and I just put every single term in there and I added on to it week by week. That way I could increase my knowledge and practice the problems so when it came to test time, I could use those definitions properly. Another big thing that I highly recommend doing is making sure to complete the homework. So what I did is I would, each week that we were assigned, we weren't assigned homework problems, but they were given out. What I recommend doing is completing these problems the week. I would kind of work on them ahead of the class, and once, because during the first lecture I'd get the problems corresponding to those problems in the book. I'd complete those, and then after the second lecture I'd complete the other half. And then what I would do is when it came into a exam or something, I would, a week beforehand the exam, I would go through these problems again, focus on certain ones that I thought would be important, and these are really important because they're going to be basically on the exam, so he's not going to throw anything new at you. It's not about tricking you, so you want to really make sure that you practice these problems. So I would complete those a second time, and in addition, when prepping for an exam, I would really focus on making sure that you go through the problems that are in the lecture, because if you can nail these problems, then you'll be very well situated for other problems that you have to deal with. Because he's not trying to trick you. It's as long as you understand the basic principles, I think it's a very manageable class. So that's really practice, practice, practice. Masters is coming up this weekend, and I'm a fan of golf. So one thing is, even Tiger Woods, who's a phenomenal athlete, he still has to practice all the time and to be a great golfer. So, we should take the same premise in becoming a good engineer and make sure we practice these skills. It's very important. So that is the one thing that I would like to say. And additionally, in that respect, it's really, like I said initially, it's Dr. Barry will emphasize it, but it's about following the path. And this is very important because when you want to focus on the basic principles like unit verification, this is going to come into almost every single thing you do and can be really useful. And I've started to find even use when I'm using it at work. So this is one thing that I would try to focus on getting and understanding really early in the class, because it's going to show up on multiple different exams. So you want to make sure you practice this. Make sure that you can verify units and go through the examples in class, because then when you see it the first time on a test, you're not going to freak out about it. So that's one thing that I would focus a lot, and that's a part of that, following that path. You got to understand that basic principle and then the definitions, and then you can practice those problems, and then you can bring in new information and combine it and practice even harder problems and understand more about the concept. Additionally, I'd like to recommend what I did personally is if Dr. Barry offers it again, is a project. He offered a project to our class. Your class is a little bit bigger, so I don't exactly know if he would offer that, but if you have the opportunity to do that and you're a motivated student, I highly recommend it, because I felt like I've better understood fluid mechanics topics more than I would have just simply taking a final exam. So if you were to do this, then you would better understand those principles. So overall, to wrap up, I just want to recommend: 1, learn your definitions, do a Quizlet. 2, practice the homework problems. It's just do those, space it out adequately, don't pile it up, and you're not going to get overwhelmed by it. 3, make sure that you listen and take notes. Make sure you follow that path and focus on unit verification. If there's one thing that I could take away from the class, it's really unit verification, because that's something that I can use throughout any other class and a really important concept. So that's what I would suggest you guys do to be successful in the class. And don't freak out. It's as long as you break it up into little parts, it actually becomes pretty easy. So those are my recommendations. Thank you very much and have a good day.